Good morning, welcome to part 15 of my Around the Kent Coast Cycling Challenge. It's really good to have you back. We've just cycled past what I see as one of the kind of icons of the Kent Coast, which is the beach hut. You may see them over my left shoulder just behind me. I will put a better picture up because they're quite a long way off now. It's really nice to see them. Hopefully that's a good sign of things to come, and hopefully you'll join me for all of today's route. Let's get going. So today's route is actually on the northern edge of the Isle of Sheppy. So we're kind of going around to the northeast edge, heading towards Leysdown on Sea, which would be quite nice. We're starting from Minster, which is just behind me. We're going to cycle along the coast. Now, a lot of the coast suffers from quite a bit of erosion around here, which we will talk about later. So a lot of the cycling will be kind of slightly inland, but never mind. We go around, we find the coast where we can. We are going through a lot of kind of caravan land, as you see behind me. So that'd be quite good to see, quite a lot of holiday camps. So hopefully today it'll be a good cycle. Let's get going. So one issue about cycling on the northern edge of the Isle of Grain, you've got to kind of be careful where you're going and not go too fast down paths that you don't know what's at the end, because this could happen here. As you see, the path suddenly ends to a steep cliff due to the erosion. Let's just go and have a look over the edge. It's quite a scary drop down there. Let's go to a reporter on the beach to find out what the problem is. A big issue that the residents face who live on the Isle of Sheppy is the amount of erosion happening along the north coast, as you can see behind me. It's very soft soil. Let's just go and have a bit of a closer look. It actually just kind of crumbles away, as you see here. I'll try not to add to the erosion problem. It's very soft, so as the waves hit it, it just kind of erodes away into the sea. And since the Roman times, the Isle of Sheppy has actually shrunk by a third. So that was about 1500 years ago. So by my kind of really rudimentary grasp of mathematics, I think by the year 6000 there'd be nothing left of the Isle of Sheppy. It would have all washed away into the sea. I'm sure that won't happen. I know there's a few schemes at the moment to kind of build more sea defences to try and stop the kind of onset of the erosion. It's quite interesting, and a lot of residents are very worried about it. There is a few homes along the cliff top now that are getting very close to being kind of washed out down the cliff and being washed into the sea. So it's quite worrying for many residents, but it's quite interesting to see. I think we should look at that story in a bit further detail.
The north coast of the Isle of Sheppy is suffering. Cliff erosions being predicted to increase significantly over the next 100 years.
At Eastchurch, cliffs overlooking the Thames estuary have come under attack from storms and waves, but the Environment Agency has no plans to stop the sea's advance.
As Abigail Bracken reports, though, those living even closer to the waves don't share their point of view.
Our coastline is retreating, the waves washing away the cliffs here at Eastchurch Gap on the Isle of Sheppy, sending mud runs into the fields, bringing the shore closer to the doorsteps of dozens of houses and many more mobile homes. The Environment Agency is now consulting on its draft plans for dealing with coastal erosion here. At the North Sheppy Cliffs, the strategy is to do nothing, because the cliffs are a site of special scientific interest and because the Environment Agency says the costs outweigh any benefits. But campaigners say they now risk losing their homes.
So we've managed to find the sea again along the north coast of the Isle of Sheppy. We're a few miles outside of Leysdown. It's very interesting because we've actually found these old forts that have fallen into the sea. It looks like they were once on the cliff top. They were very well built. So as the cliffs eroded from underneath them, they kind of fell down onto the beach, kind of landed out to sea. I think the waves have been hitting them. They were very well built, so they've kind of survived many years being down here. Very interesting. As I pan round, go and have a bit of a closer look at this one. The tide is actually nearly in now, so there's only so much investigating we can do. It's very interesting. It has been covered in graffiti, which is a bit of a shame. Just going to pan the camera around, show you a closer look. You see, very well built, made of thick concrete. Very interesting. Right, let's go and have a closer look at them. Welcome to Leysdown-on-Sea beach. It's actually really nice at the moment because it's totally empty. There is, I think there's a guy metal detecting right down the other end, but apart from that, pan around to show you, there is no one else on the beach, which is quite nice, especially nice for filming, so that's quite good. You'll see the Leysdown town behind me, a lot of caravans and a few other kind of seaside buildings. It's quite nice. The tide is actually a very long way out, which is really good. I can actually walk quite a way. I could actually walk for quite a few miles by looking out to sea. I'm guessing in the distance is South End. You can't actually see it today because it's very kind of rainy and cloudy and a bit hazy. But it's very nice. I won't walk too far because I've just realised my feet are getting slightly wet on the marshland. But it almost looks like kind of another planet here. I'm just going to pan around so you can see. It kind of looks like some kind of barren wilderness. I'm so glad that I came when the tide was out. It's quite a nice sight to see. So let's go and have a closer look at Leysdown-on-Sea. According to the Domesday Book, Leysdown was originally known as Leysdown, and the name is thought to be derived from the Anglo-Saxon word leswi for pasture and dun for hill. So Leysdown was a very small hamlet up to the late Victorian times. It was developed a little after the arrival of the Sheppy Light Railway in 1903, which ran from Queensborough to Leysdown. Now there was plans to turn this into a huge resort and a huge tourist hub with large hotels and restaurants, but unfortunately these never materialised. The railway was closed in the 1950s, and although the initial extensive plans for a huge resort were never developed, the town still grew into a fair-sized holiday resort, with many visitors coming from London in the summer months to enjoy the long beaches, amusements, parks and cafes. Leysdown has one of the largest concentrations of holiday parks in Kent, with mostly caravans and chalet parks. It is very popular during the summer months. Right, let's carry on along the eastern edge of the Isle of Sheppy. excuse my really bad pose, I'm just standing in front of the statue of the Short brothers. Now, the Short brothers are actually very important in the world of aviation. So they actually managed to build and fly the first plane that flew more than a mile. So the Wright brothers, I think, built the first plane, and these ones kind of took it a step further. They also built the first production factory for aircraft, which was right here on the Isle of Sheppy. So that's very interesting, and the statue is here to commemorate that. So let's carry on around the coast. So we've come out the other side of Leysdown on Sea now. We're on Sheppy Beach. I must admit, I was quite impressed by Leysdown today. I've never been a great fan of that kind of beach resort, but I didn't realise it had such kind of long and extensive beaches, which is really nice to see, especially seeing them so deserted. It actually stopped raining now and there's still no one about, which is a bit of a shame. It's actually quite a warm and lovely day. The clouds are clearing. I'm just going to pan around. There's a lot of old kind of sea defences that have disintegrated here on Sheppy Beach. It kind of almost looks apocalyptic in a way. Kind of just the remains of them still standing. It's very nice to see. Anyway, this is the end of part 15. Thanks for joining me. It's been a great episode today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you next week in part 16.